Hello everyone, Alberto Savoia here, and welcome back to How to Become an Apex Innovator short videos that will teach you how to innovate like the best innovators in the world. This is part 3 of our series, How to Bet Like Bezos, and the title of this part 3 is The Only Innovation Bets Worth Making. So you will remember from the beginning of the series that Bezos says, if you have a 10% chance of winning a bet with a 100x payoff, take that bet every time. So the numbers 10% and 100x are kind of arbitrary, but the point is you want to take a lot of bets that have very high payoffs, even if the probability of achieving that result are low. Clearly, this strategy has worked very well for Bezos and Amazon. That's their growth in the last 20 or so years, and the numbers there are billions of dollars. So we're talking about real money and real growth, double-digit growth year after year, and that's what Apex innovators are able to accomplish. So, but here, so how do we do? How do we take as many bets as we can of this really highly favorable, even if unlikely bet? Well, rule number 1 is play as many rounds as you can. As I showed in the previous video, because your odds of winning any single bet are very, very low, you have to take a lot of bets to find the ones that have the big payoff. So rule number 1, play as many rounds as you can. Well, in order to play as many rounds as you can, and this is another image. I put this a lot. Bezos saying, our success is measured by how many experiments we run per year, per week, per day. So lots of experiment. So, but in order to succeed with rule 1, you have to stay alive, because if you're dead, you cannot make many more bets. And when it comes to business and Apex innovation, staying alive, meaning that your company is doing well and you have resources to invest in innovation. However, these days is not enough to stay alive. Why? Because it's just basically survival. There are other companies that are growing. So how about rule number 2 is grow? Well, even that's not enough, because everybody is growing. Your competition is growing. So rule 3, in order to play as many rounds as you can, you have to not just to stay alive. It's not enough to grow. You have to grow as fast as you can. And why is that? Well, because this is how things are today. You have 2 options. You can be the king or queen of the jungle. That's a lioness in this case. Or you can be running for your life, in whatever business or market or industry you're in. And you can say, Alberto, but this has always been true, right? You're either the top dog or you're running for your life. Yes, it's been true, but what has changed recently, and that's why it's important to be Apex innovators, is the speed at which these transitions can happen. Right now, 2023, you can be at top of the hill, king or queen of the jungle, and 5 years from now, you can be running for your life, right? So we see this happening over and over again. One of my favorite examples is this cover from Forbes magazine from 2007. It's about Nokia. Can anybody catch the cell phone king? So in 2007, Nokia had more than 50% market share for mobile phone. 5 years later, it had less than 5%. And today, I do not know a single person with a Nokia phone or a BlackBerry phone, for that matter. So this change can happen fast. And it keeps accelerating. I mean, look at what Uber and Lyft did to the business ground transportation. Now, the impact on taxis, on car rental. In a matter of a few quarters, both of those dropped dramatically by double digits. And today, with innovation and new stuff like ChatGPT, 5 years actually, 5 years sounds too long. Things are happening much, much faster. So let me get rid of that 5 years, right? If you can be king or queen of the hill in 2023, and next year, 2024, you can be running for your life. We're seeing it happen now in so many industries, and there are more to come. So rule number 3, to grow as fast, grow as fast as you can to remain on top. So rule number 2 implies rule number 3, to grow as fast as you can. You need to make as many asymmetric bets as you can. So again, what is an asymmetric bets? It's a bet where your payoff is successful, is just off the chart, is outsized return, and you make a small investment, right? It's a small investment and a small loss if not successful, and then kind of optional. Typically, there is a low probability of success, right? Because the big payoffs don't happen every other time. So they're kind of rare, as we've discussed in the past, and I will explain again. Again, asymmetric bets, to simplify, 10% chance of 100x return, take it anytime. Those numbers could be different. It could be 1% chance of 1,000 times return, or a 20% chance of, 40x return. The point is that the loss is small, and if you win, the result, the outcome is great. So sounds good in theory. In practice, this is what it looks like. So to make asymmetric bets, you make a bet, you lose. Most of these bets you will lose, but you lose small amounts, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, chasing ideas that, if successful, are going to be worth billions of dollars. So you lose a bet, make another bet, you lose, or you call it failure, call you what you will. I call them experiments. So you lose. So there are a lot of losses, but they're all relatively, not relatively, really small losses if you're a big company, right? So lose $1,000 here, $10,000 there on that bet. You lose. You keep at it, and eventually, you kind of hit the jackpot. So all of those little losses of a few thousands or a few tens of thousands of dollars, if you're a big company, are negligible. But then you hit and you get this very, very big win. So you remember from the previous presentation, if you take, say, 10,000 ideas, we know from the Pareto's law, most of them will fail. Pareto's law is 80-20, the traditional one, but that's just a power law. I prefer to use 90-10 because it's much more realistic when you're thinking about big innovation. So out of 10,000 ideas, 9,000 will just go nowhere. Maybe there's a small percentage, 900, that achieve moderate success. Maybe there are $1 million ideas. Maybe 90 of them are $10 million ideas. Large company, if you're an apex innovator, you don't care about those. Those don't move the needle. You want the $100 million ideas. You want the $1 billion plus ideas. You want ideas that move the needle, right? And that's what Bezos is after, right? He wants outsized return, right? So we want those big returns that move the needle. The thing is that in order to get those returns, you have to go through a lot of those, right? Through a lot of those failures that you've seen. And this is what I call the wall. It's the innovation wall. If you want to be an apex innovator, you're going to hit this wall where you're going to fail and fail and fail and fail, if you want to use that term, or experiment, if you prefer that term, which I like much better, right? And so if you have the wall and you want to be an apex innovator, you only have one option. You cannot guess ahead of time which ideas will be successful. You have to break through the wall, right? To quote Robert Frost, the only way out is through. You have to make a lot of bets. You have to test a lot of ideas. You have to be prepared to have a lot of those ideas not succeed, right? Again, run a lot of experiments. Think in terms thousands of experiments per month, per year, per week, per day. Lots and lots of experiments. So in order to bet like Bezos, you have to experiment like Bezos. So what is really a bet? It's a business. It's a business experiment. Now, and those experiments must be run fast. So you heard the expression fail fast, to which I add and cheap, right? Because it could be fast and expensive. So that's not good enough these days, right? So I changed it as follows. Instead of fail fast, I said experiment, and not just fast, Ferrari fast and Fiat cheap, right? No offense to Fiat, I mean cheap in the positive sense. Small, contained, efficient failures. And why is that important? Because if you think, here on the bottom, on the x-axis, if you spend weeks or months or years and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to test each ideas, the most you can do is to test a few ideas per year, even if you're a large company, right? So you need to change the attitude. If you want to test hundreds or thousands of ideas per year, you must be able to test them in a matter of hours, days, okay, at the outside, maybe a couple of weeks. And that makes a difference between you being, king and queen of the jungle, or running for your life. So apex innovators must run thousands of fast and cheap experiments each year. And the big question is how, right? How do we do that? Well, that is going to be the topic of our next session, how to experiment like Bezos and other innovators that have achieved this kind of success. So in the meantime, if you want more of these innovation videos, please share them with your friend, subscribe, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, please click the subscribe button. So when there's a new video, it's automatically announced to you. Follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Comment, let me hear your viewpoints. I love comments. Don't assume that everything I say is right. You're free to disagree with me. It's going to be an interesting discussion because I've done my homework and I have the data, but always feel free to disagree with me. And remember, if you want to learn more, I have books. The first one, Prototype It, is free. Then I have the Write It. That's my latest book. A lot of other video lessons on YouTube. And of course, if you're a big company and you want to become an Apex innovator or remain an Apex innovator, please consider me for a live workshop or webinars. I would love to do that for you. So with that, thank you again. Thank you for watching. Keep in touch. And in the meantime, remember, go out and make a lot of small bets. This is Alberto. Best wishes. See you for the next video. Ciao.